Welcome everyone to the Yugipod second episode. I know it's been a while since the first one, but we're back on the air. I'm here with Thomas and Ryan, and I'm Dan. And today I think we're going to be talking about the tins and what potential impact it might have on the meta. We may touch up on the ban list here a little bit later on. Both of them came out October 1st. I guess we'll start with the tins. And the biggest card to come out of there is crossout designator. Um, I guess crossout designator. Do we think it's going to change the meta at all? Is it going to be one of those cards that's played at three? That will help every deck, or is it just something that might sit in the side deck for a while? Thomas?
Well, my opinion, the card is kind of like cherries. If you remember that from if you can cherries the Dante, then Burning Abyss dies. But then no one plays Burning Abyss. Everyone takes out cherries. Everyone goes back to Burning Abyss, and we repeat this vicious cycle over and over again with crossout, where people are going to play crossout to beat the common hand traps, and then everyone will get off the common hand traps, and then crossout's garbage. You don't play crossout, and then suddenly everyone goes back to the hand traps, and then they bring back, and then everyone main decks crossout again. I think
That
crossout is going to definitely be a side card because in any mirror match, it's just a blowout card to begin with.
that's true. That's true. But back to your cherries thing. I think that'd be great in a mirror match with Tri Brigade still probably being the strongest or one of the strongest decks here. But with crossout can hit other cards. Preemptively any trap cards that your opponent might be playing, like Solemn Judgment or Strike or something along those lines. Do you think it's very versatile enough to be in a main deck, or you still sticking with the side deck card eventually?
I think it will more than likely within this coming month be just a side deck card for the mirror matches, and when you know what cards you're gonna play, because I think there'll be enough people changing what they play in their main decks just to avoid crossout. The crossout won't be as good because if you're not running into the mirror match game one, crossout can be inherently dead. Like if you're playing Tri Brigade, but your opponent's playing Drytron with like no hand traps in it, what is this crossout actually going to do for you?
That's true. That's true.
So
That's true.
here's my little take on it, right? It's probably going to get the same treatment as triple tactical talents. It's a great card, but yet you would see people running it anywhere between 1 to 3, or even just side decking it based on the matchup. Also, I do believe that crossout can change deck building, not necessarily the meta. Kind of like how Thomas said, like people just stop running like the hand traps or stuff like that for it. Like for example, Ghost Mourner or Moonlight Chill. It's the worst failure, but people will probably run it anyways to get around that, to get around being crossed out with their Veiler, right?
Right.
That's just
Yeah,
a example. But I do believe that with the hand trap heavy format that we're in and that we're going to be in, because let's face it, Burst of Destiny will give us new decks, but it won't really change how we're playing the game right now, in my opinion. I think it'll still be in a hand trap heavy format then too.
Yeah, you're probably right on that.
But
Um,
this way though, like I think, for example, against like the Drytron thing, if you're playing against Drytrons and say that you're going first, you know, like the one hand trap that you're gonna be playing, or not, will be orange. Like you can like side deck just a singular copy of it with your crossouts if you're really that afraid of it. I'm not saying that'll be the most optimal way to do it, but that is just another option that the card gives you. Like it gives you extra options for outs. It gives you options for say like Imperial Order. Somebody flips order on you, call cross out or cross out it, then you could continue your turn to hopefully set up and not worry about order for the rest of that game, depending on the deck, obviously. But I think it
Yeah,
will change how deck building affects it, but I do think it's going to get like the talents treatment and it be ran at different numbers depending on the deck or side or main, depending either the build or what.
now with you bringing up deck building, how much do you think of the deck building will change? You think people just run
Not
one of
much.
every hand trap in the main
No,
deck and the side deck and run a few designators and
no.
try to take care of everything?
Running one of every hand trap will just be more of a detriment than anything else. You still want to
Well,
stop your
might be a
opponent.
little bit over exaggeration, but you know what I mean.
Uh, no, I don't think it will change that much, especially this early on. What do you think,
Oh,
Thomas?
Uh,
Thomas, do you think crossout will end up being a rather fun card to play for this meta? Or do
no,
you think it'll
Fun.
I think it's a skillful card, but I don't think anyone's ever gonna be happy when you go droplet, somebody's like hailed a vault in this board with 3 fairies in hand and stuff, and you go droplets them, and they go chain, crossout designator, banish my droplets. I don't think anyone's ever gonna have fun or think it's inherently because it can push bad game states pretty far across. Like, I think it's a very skillful card, and we're gonna see a lot of people like if they main deck the crossout designator, they're gonna have like weird crossout targets in their side. Like they'll play like one fractal, or they'll play like one evenly match. I actually found it like interesting that like if players like want to get creative, like going first, and they have crossout designator in their deck, they could side in theoretically one evenly match and one lightning storm, just so they don't get evenly matched in lightning storm, and it can be essentially work as like the somewhere from 3 to 6 extra judgments to negate cards like that are blowouts.
Mm-hmm.
right? Yeah, it'll definitely change the way you build decks and stuff. Now, I mean, I guess as far as a fun card, like you said, I'm in agreement with you about these combo decks that are already pretty strong, and then all of a sudden they now they have crossout designator to stop anybody else who's trying to make a comeback and stuff like that. But do we think it's actually a really good card? I mean, is it a meta defining card?
I wouldn't say meta defining. Like I said earlier with my analogy with talents, really good card, but wasn't meta defining. And I don't think this will be meta defining either, but it is a really good card. It has so much utility that you can do with it, but it won't completely reshape anything.
Well, is it? Do you think it's a card that needs to be run at 3, or is it just preference, Thomas?
I think it's just preference. It would also depend on like how many slots you have open to tech cards and how many different kind of tech cards you can play within the deck. Because if you because like Drytron benefits from it, but Drytron only had like room for like 6 hand traps realistically, or it's like 8ish. So now you gotta play 3 crossout, and that's gonna take maybe the droplet slot. That's gonna where you maybe up, you lost one Ava, so I guess you put it there, but you gotta still take out 2 other cards. It's like how many other cards can you have in your deck for Designator to hit them and stuff like that.
Well,
So
we kind of know what the top decks are going to be. They have, you said, about 6 or 7 slots. You have 3, let's say 3 droplets. Just bear with me here. 3 droplets, and then they cut everything else down to, let's say, 1. Um, it's just so they have enough to stop their opponent from actually trying to stop them, but plus being able to have their own Hoon trap just in case. Do you think that's feasible or not really, as far
um
as deck building?
I think that maybe you'll see Drytron lists that are playing the 1 Nibiru, 1 draw.
Like cards that they will
Maybe
lose
they're
to.
playing like, yeah. I think we'll see like a rise of like the 2 of. Like people will play 2 droplets, 2 ash, 2 droll, and stuff like that, just to cut down on copies of cards to fit other copies of cards. So crossout will be good.
Yeah.
So it's like it is kind of impressive that crossout is going to warp deck building this
Yeah.
much.
It will
in
warp the
theory.
deck building, just it won't change the meta, in my opinion. However, though, if it does warp deck building to that extent, we can also get like that double-edged sword of, will I brick on these random hand traps that I'm drawing into?
Yeah, because if you have one in your deck, you draw it, and then you're pretty much screwed the
Yeah,
rest of the time
Drytron
through.
goes first. They end up drawing their Nibiru. You know, that's like worst case scenario for them, really. Like if they draw other stuff too with it, obviously. I'm not saying like one card's not going to brick them, but you know what I mean.
Well, with crossout designated, do you think it'll help younger players who aren't quite up to par with some of the other better players at the shop? Do you think it'll
All right.
level the playing field a
So
little bit at
if they
all?
can afford 3 cross out, they can afford
Well, I mean,
the other
you
utility
buy some
card.
tins and you happen to pull a couple crossouts. I mean,
Yo, you can buy some tins, pull a whole Tri Brigade
well,
cord,
you're
technically.
being too technical. I'm just asking the question if you
Yeah,
think it'd be.
No, honestly, it's like how Thomas said, it's a really skill intensive card, so it really just depends on how newer players, younger players, what have you, less experienced players are willing to learn their matchups and learn their own weaknesses of the said deck to be able to use it to its full potential. Just
yeah.
having the card doesn't mean anything if unless they actually know how to use it.
All right. Now, would you guys buy the tins for this, or would you just buy the cards? I know there's some cards that had some upgrades. And I guess the most glaring thing was that access code was not in the tins this time around. Maybe it'll get reprinted in El Dorado. But would you guys buy the tins? I mean, not to just support your shop, but just in general. If you're at Walmart, would you buy the tins or just buy the cards themselves?
I would definitely buy a couple tins. There's a lot of things in there that like I want, but that necessarily aren't expensive and stuff like that. So there's no reason to go
Yeah,
hunting for the
definitely.
cards or cracking packs and stuff like that. But I think this is a good set that if you wanted to just buy X, this isn't like a Donna Mazzi situation where you're talking like 1 in 200 packs is worth the money that you put
Yeah.
into the buying
Uh,
the pack itself, like in terms of raw card value.
the only
I do love all the prismatics though. They're all gorgeous
yes,
this time around.
Yes.
the only issue I ever had with these tins were the whole you get 3 rares instead of the 2 ultras that you're supposed to be getting in your pack. That quite a few people actually ended up having happen to them.
Yeah, I've heard that. They weren't getting the right ratios in their packs or in their tins.
Like they could open up 4 whole tins and not get a single ultra. That was
I
pretty
haven't heard it that
busted.
extreme, but
Oh yeah, no. There's been video evidence of it happening.
what do you think about access code not being in this tin?
It's gonna get the same treatment as BLS.
I like that. I don't understand why that VLS has gotten is like a short print secret, an ultimate rare,
In a
when
short
that was a
print
ghost
ghost rare.
rare, short print ghost rare, and now is just receiving an OTS ultimate rare. It's like, can you make this card like cheap once, please?
It's not even being like used in like a whole lot of like meta strategies either. So it's just staying up in price, hard to get no matter what.
It's really
Hey,
nice.
when Burst of Destiny comes out, Flunderies could use it.
Can they though?
Yeah, at some point. I don't know if they could. I know they have a bunch of level 7s.
I'm pretty sure a lot of their card effects say that you cannot special summon for the turn that you use any of their effects.
The turn that you use it, you can wait till the next turn.
I think that's just bad.
I, I mean, you probably do play it because I don't see why not.
Oh
If
yeah,
like you
no, like
can
you can
make
definitely play it,
links.
but I just think it's you really gonna get rid of your Emperor Penguin for a BLS? You know, I don't know.
I don't know. But yeah, tune in next time when when we complain about El Dorado and they're talking about access code is a short print new Ghost Gold rare in
Ghost
the
Gold.
next set.
I would love
And we
that.
are literally malding, and I am sitting here still happy I did not sell out.
Yep. And I guess to close this out, before we go touch on the ban list a little bit, um, I just want to throw a shout out to our local store shop, Knighthood Games. If anybody is listening to us at all, check them out. They're in Cookeville, Tennessee. We have weekly local tournaments on Thursdays. It's starting at 6. Then we hold box tournaments and legendary format tournaments, I guess you can call it. This today is going to be a GOAT format. We're going to be doing Edison format here in a month, and then we have
Maybe.
box tournaments. Yeah, maybe, and then box tournaments for the next set, which is Burst of Destiny. So check them out on Facebook, Knighthood Games, Cookeville, Tennessee. Thanks. All right, so I guess we could talk a little bit about Burst of Destiny, but what do you think about the ban list? That came out just enough about the same time as the 10s here, October 1st. And I know we don't have enough information to say whether it'll be good or bad, but a couple decks did get hit with Eva to 1 and Meow Meow to 1
Okay.
and
So
Barrage banned. I don't think that really hurt Tri Brigade too much.
so Eva to 1 is not a hit.
No?
No.
Don't they usually use 2?
There's been a lot of lists that cut Eva to 1 and they can still do their big board.
Mm-hmm.
It just depends on what sequence they decide to use the Eva, either on their turn or on your turn with the Beatrice. It depends on how good they open, technically. But Barrage being banned with the 2 Tenkies hit from
Enki
Tri
to
Brigade.
1.
Yeah, 2 Tenkies gone basically from the deck. That does hurt consistency. You're not as likely to open up, a Fractal or that one Zodiac monster, but I don't think it hurts it too bad.
What do you think, Thomas?
Um,
Playing
I
kids though are really hit though.
I mean, I am currently playing Tri Brigade and plan to keep playing Tri Brigade during this format until Burst. But what I have learned is basically it's you're doubling down on just being Tri Brigade and having utility. You don't have. I think the biggest thing about this is you don't have as free of access to Zeus, nor do you have your optimal first turn board opt as often. Like, yeah, you can still get your revolt. You can still probably make the app like 50% of the time, but that's all you're doing now. Like, and on that note, like not having consistent access to Zoo means that now Dragoon is a bigger problem for the deck, and I think you're going to see most lists have to play 3 droplets to compensate for that a lot. Um, Touching on the Drytron thing, the Eva hit means that basically instead of the maximum, like through the combo, they get 4 or 5 negates. Now they get maybe 2 or 3 negates through the combo, not counting what else is left in their hand,
Mm-hmm.
Hmm.
which is significant, but it's still like, well, now at least they don't have a negate for every card in your hand.
But it's
So there's
still,
Yeah.
something, I
but it's
guess.
basically a negate for every card in your hand at that point. I
Yeah,
mean, like,
right. Like having crossout designator. I
Crossout
don't
Destiny
know.
ain't gonna
Oh,
help it.
I just
They'll just negate that. Like,
well, now as far as I guess top decks, I still think Tri Brigade would be strong, Drytron would be strong. What do you think about Virtual World?
Virtual World got a buff with Italy 2. I don't
Ooh.
know how good of a buff it is, as I have not really seen it get played in person yet. Uh, but they are still a really strong deck. They can still like push out really big boards. They can still kill really quick, and if all else fails, like Shen is a good boss monster. A lot of decks can't play under Dimensional Fissure too well.
No, 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 they can't. No, Thomas, what do you think about pendulums? And the Skulkerbat is now at 2, and then what was that other sorcerer card? The 3.
Double Iris.
Uh,
It was Double
Iris,
Iris
double
Magicians.
Iris.
Double
Yeah.
Iris, yeah. Do you think they'll do anything in this format?
Um, I think we will see remote whenever there's a remote duel invitational or there's a remote duel extravaganza, because those are the only events where you have quite a few people playing and stuff. You'll probably see a couple lists show up there in like the smaller events of those things. I don't think it's like super competitively viable, though. My friend says it's okay right now. I mean, if you guys watch MDT, he did a thing about it. Deck's okay. It's
Yeah.
nowhere. It's not quite up there with Virtual World and Drytron in terms of a combo deck right
It's
now, but
a decent rogue deck.
yeah, if you like pendulums, you probably feel pretty good about the deck because it at least does something in this format now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it does. I
And
mean,
for next list, we get Electromite and Astrograph Sorcerer back.
I do like how they're keeping like this like rule of like, I want to say the rule of two, but I think they took technically three cards off the list for pendulums this format because
Yeah, technically they
what
did.
Double Iris was that one last format, right?
It was at 2.
Okay, so they're taking off cards by two off the list for pendulums. So now next list we're gonna get either one Skulker Joker back, or two monkey boards back,
Oh
and then
man,
we can get
monkey
imagine.
board. No, I don't.
Well,
I don't know if they'll bring back monkey
I
board too
think that we
soon.
have enough of like the pendulums hit that we can bring back Monkey Board and it not still not be a problem.
yeah. I do believe there's like a growing like belief in that if you literally unban every single card but Electromite, Electromite slash Kieran,
Yeah,
pendulums are still not
underwhelming.
good enough.
Because like their biggest thing in the past was like they used card advantage. Now it's a I'm gonna build my big board. Hope you can stop it, bro. And if they get hit by hand traps and they can't build their board, they don't got a whole lot going for them.
Yeah, I'd say
At
like
least as of right now. Obviously, it can change depending on how things get released and
yeah.
stuff.
No,
Well,
granted,
go ahead, Tom.
I was gonna say now. Granted, if the format slows down, like Owen obviously done a good job about like I feel like from last year when we were playing Eldritch Synchron and shit stuff like that. Um, the formats have slowed down consistently this year, and if it continues on the trend, pendulums could see play. But their biggest problem is like inherently a pendulum deck is at least like a three-card combo to do anything because you have to have your two scales and then something to pendulum summon to begin with. Where
And
these
even then,
current
though, you
combo
still
decks
need
are like,
other stuff with it.
yeah, where these current combo decks, I mean, what Drytron is alpha, sec, beta. Okay, that's the whole combo. That's two cards. Virtual World is, I think Kalu and Lulu is actually just the whole board for free.
Yeah.
So
Just
like,
about.
so maybe when we see like these current combo decks get hit, if as long as they're not power creeping us in the next few sets, we could see Pendulums probably be a good deck, or they could just release an actual new Pendulum archetype that's been play tested by R&D and is actually going to be playable.
Yeah. I think
Yeah,
like the
that
closest that
could
we had to
happen.
that was the Endymion stuff, and even then,
Now, I've been a big advocate of Max C coming back, and I don't know when it will. Do you think it deserves to come off the ban list at some point?
Mm, I did have the belief Maxi would come back because crossout was coming out. So to make crossout even like more like you have to play it, Maxi was going to come back, which it didn't. But and I am more of I'm really indifferent to the card at this point because it's to me it's kind of like the Vanity's emptiness scenario if anyone remembers that at this point,
Mm-hmm.
where like you make your board, you flip vanities and you win, and sure your opponent can have and like I guess in like trap form because like the second player benefits from Maxi, but like the person who opens Maxi is at such an advantage in this current like game of Yu-Gi-Oh because every deck special summons except that new Flundery archetype. It's the only deck that literally doesn't lose the Maxi.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that was one of the reasons why I thought Maxi would come back to what you said with Crossout Designator and Flunderies, just normal summoning cards all the time. Because I think with the format, it's to me it's a little bit boring. I'm getting kind of tired of Tri Brigade playing all the Tri Brigade stuff. So I think a lot of people are just wanting to try something different. And with Burst coming out here in November, I think
Yeah, and then
it'll
we're all
change.
gonna get tired of Burst because everybody's gonna be playing Sword Soul with the occasional Flundereeds player.
We'll be playing Penguins. But back to the ban list. I don't want to get too off. Is there anything on there that you think should have came off or should come off?
Racing.
Or is there anything that should have went on this last set that you think? Because there was only what 6 cards total that, or 6 or 7 that got any kind of hit up or down on a ban list this time around.
Well, like I definitely have like a lot of like bad takes on what could come off the list, but we could be here for a
I see
literal
you're
like
an
two
MBT viewer.
hours. Uh-huh. Except I'm MBT is like smart in a sense to like try to do that, but I don't think it's inherently right, but I am also a believer in like some things just put it to 3, and if you have to e-ban it, you have to e-ban it. Just do it. I really
Yep.
wish they would have like put like Ancient Fairy or what's another one? Actually just Ancient Fairy. That's the one I fucking care. That's the only one I care about. But just like literally release a ban list, release X wild card. Halfway through the format, if X wild card is destroying the format, just e-ban it.
Yeah,
Just do
they
it.
do have the power. They don't have to wait until January 1st or January 17th or whatever are these dates that they set up. They can do it at any time. I mean,
Yeah.
they're
Well,
restricted.
honestly, my hot take is that we should utilize the semi-limited list a little bit more often. I think that would shake up uh, deck building a little bit if we just like semi-limited certain things to like 2 for whatever reason. Kind of like how the OCG does and how the TCG did back in the day. It wasn't
You know,
too impactful, but I mean, it's there. Like, come on now. We shouldn't have it there for just one card, in my opinion. That just seems like a waste.
One card. What do you mean? What card?
The semi-limited list is only there right now for just malicious. That's it.
I'm not against agreeing with that. Because what we have 4 cards on the semi-limited list. Ironically, malicious looks like it was one of only 2 cards on the limited list last format. The other card I'm looking at on this list right now that I'm like, I I don't understand why it's still there, but I think we all forgot about it.
Hmm.
Eclipse Wyvern.
Oh yeah.
I was like, huh. Looks
You
like
know,
I
I
banned
wonder
for
how that
Dragon Link.
would change up how. I wonder like how impactful that would be for Dragon Link. In all honesty.
Well, at this point, you don't have LP, so now you're like, that actually probably would be pretty fun because that means like you're playing like Eclipse Wyvern in main to hit off the Chaos Ruler dude.
Yeah, no, like it would be fun. I think, honestly, I think like there's a lot of cards that can come back without really any issue too much. Uh,
For the most part, yeah, I'd say
yeah,
a lot of them
like
could.
for
But
example, a lot of the tuners, in my opinion, can come back.
So like
tuners.
this is the Star Wars meme with when you ban needle fiber, right? When you ban needle fiber, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Mm.
But
Thing with that is nobody's using it. That's the problem. I mean, not really, anyway.
mhm. I mean, I
Nah,
guess the only tuner that super matters right now is Lion. If
yeah.
we bring that back,
Honestly, what we could do is we could just bring back all the tuners and then just hit the Mega Phantom Beast Link 3.
Galaxy Tomahawk could come off there. What do you think about that? Let's see.
I think that's another ancient fairy wild card where we probably
Yeah,
will find a way to break it. We have no idea how to do it now, but give somebody a week on their
And
EDO
it will
Pro
happen.
test hand simulator, and they'll find it.
yeah. Oh, yeah. Eventually. I was sad when Gofu was hit a couple of years
Okay,
back,
okay. To
but
be fair though, Gofu was a problem at
still.
the time. A free special summon that gave you 2 bodies for link summoning.
Hey,
At the
man.
time, it was pretty busted. All right,
Yeah, it was.
I
Probably
love
still would be.
no nowadays you'd summon Gofu and then you go Gofu token needle fiber, needle
yeah, it
fiber
summoned
summon tuner
2 different
other token.
tokens. So like that is just whack, man. I don't know. Let's slow down and go through at least. Gold Bob though can come back in my opinion.
Gold bulb would be fine.
Yeah, I think so. Glow Bulb would be all right.
I'd
Well,
rather mill from the deck and then discard from hand. Because you can search what you want to your hand to discard with, like, say, Jet Synchron. But I'm also okay with it coming back. Anything to give Orcus a little bit of a helping hand.
yeah, Orcus would be fun to have that back. At least one, just to see what would happen.
Orcus would just be fun to have back in general.
Yata Garasu would be nice. I'd like to see that come back just for
Yeah,
the
Grass
heck of
would
it.
come back. Yeah.
For nostalgia reasons.
There's a lot of
Well,
cards that are on the ban list for nostalgia reasons, honestly.
I know, but they'll probably never come back, I would say.
Oh, so Thomas,
Yeah.
good question. So, did you go to the last tournament that was held in Knoxville?
Yeah. Wait, no, I did not.
No, you
That
didn't.
was the Dawn of Majesty case.
Yeah. Was it
No,
because
I
you
did
didn't
not
sign
attend
up in
that.
time? Was that it?
No, that was the 3v3 the other time.
Mm.
But that one, I believe, only our friends Kobe and Sam went. Actually, no, it was the X-Trap tournament, wasn't it?
Yeah, the extra
And
tournament.
we had a friend top 8 that event.
Yeah, kind of. Are you going to the other 3v3 that's happening next weekend?
Yeah, I'll probably be going to that. I already have my team picked out, and
All right,
hopefully we'll
cool.
probably pre-register tonight or
You
tomorrow.
probably
And
should. Always pre-register, people. But no. So, if you do go, give us the details on how it played out, as well as your potential deck list if need be.
Yeah, you can tell us how either Designator, how that performed, and how the new ban list might have affected anything here.
And you could tell us how our mutual friend was probably getting cheated or mauling at some dumb play that happened.
Hopefully that doesn't happen again.
Local redhead.
there's always
Well,
one story.
on that note, I think we'll probably end up calling it a day, unless you guys have any final thoughts.
Nope.
All right. This has been Yugipod. I'm Dan with Thomas and Brian, and we appreciate you guys listening. If you have any comments or if there's anything that you'd like to hear us talk about, put our 2 cents in, just leave it in the comment section below. Otherwise, we will see you guys here in a couple few weeks. Thank you for listening.